everybody. Welcome to our day after Valentine's Day. Let's start that over. Hi, everybody. Welcome to day after Valentine's Day Fresno City Toastmasters meeting. I hope that everybody felt loved in some way yesterday, whether it was romantically or just in a different type of family or friend love. Our mission at Fresno City Toastmasters is to provide a positive and supportive learning environment in which our members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. We need to fill a couple of the roles on the agenda today. Joey, you said you would take over as grammarian, so we need somebody to volunteer to do. It's going to be double duty for all of you, all of us. Someone to do all counter and then someone to do timer. Okay, Jenny said she can do all counter. Gracias. And could we get somebody to be timer?
I can be timer, as long as everyone's okay with telling me exactly the time frames again.
So you'll go, how long's your speech, Chanel?
5 to 7.
5 to 7. So we have one speech, and then the table topics are 1 to 2. And the evaluation will be 2 to 3.
So some quick announcements, just a reminder, we're not going to be meeting next week. We're going to take the week off since Monday is a holiday and give us all a little break from being here. And then March 5th, it's a Saturday, it's going to be the area speech contest. So I'll be participating from our club, and then people from, I think there's maybe like 4 or 5 clubs in our area, so other people from those clubs will be participating.
It's frozen. Looks like she's frozen. There she is. We're probably frozen to her. Let me shoot Denny a text real quick.
Caroline moved a few months ago. Sorry.
There we go. Now you're back.
Oh,
we got your audio, but you're frozen in time.
Oh, okay. You guys are all frozen too. But as long as you can hear us, that's fine. So Ryan Kryl is our new area director. I'm going to reach out and text him today and ask just to confirm if it is an in-person, if it's a Zoom only, or if it will be both. Okay. Were there any other announcements, orders of business to take care of? Joey, any update on possible meeting location?
I haven't contacted him yet. That's on my action item list this week.
Okay. All right, no worries, just checking. Okay. With that, I will pass our podium over to our Toastmaster today, who just stepped out of the room, is coming back. Please welcome Kalani.
Thank you, Madam President. Today's, sorry, my phone's going off. Back on track. Today's theme is how sweet it is to be loved by you. Perfectly placed after Valentine's Day, and I cannot wait to hear how you guys spent it as we go through our table topics today. Hopefully they align. One thing that I've noticed, I've come to realize as I've been meandering through life, is how many different aspects of love there are in the world, in different ways that you can feel it, different ways that you can interpret it, in different ways that you can find it and define it for yourself. So I can't wait to hear how it has a personal touch to each and every one of you. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass the torch to our general evaluator today, Ms. Heather Davis.
Thank you, Kaylani. So as a general evaluator, I will just be kind of keeping everyone on track, on time, introducing people and their roles. The first person of the day is going to be our grammarian, Mr. Joey Myers.
Thanks, Miss Heather. So our word of the day, I posted it for those who can see it in the chat. I'll read it. Is meander, which Kalani already used because I put it in there a little early, and I put her down for that, so she gets credit for sure. What it means, meander means to wander aimlessly or casually, or to follow a winding or intricate course. A couple sentences that it's used in. The couple spent the afternoon meandering around the seaside town. Sentence number 2, the stream meanders through the canyon. So I will be keeping an ear open, couple of ears open on who uses meander, the word of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. And now I'm going to pass it to our all counter of the day, which I believe is Miss Denny Mason.
Where am I? You are.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm going to count your ahs and ums today and see how we're doing. Kalani is always super strong. She hardly ever has one, so I'm going to watch. And I will give you a report at the very end. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Denny. And then the last person, nope, I take that back. Just kidding. The next person I'd like to introduce before the last is our timer for the day, which is Miss Kaylani Young.
Thank you, Heather. I will be taking the timer today, or I will be taking the role of the timer today, excuse me. I have 5 to 7 minutes for Ms. Chanel's speech today, which I'll be introducing shortly. 1 to 2 minutes for table topics, and our evaluation is going to be 2 to 3 minutes today. I do know that there will be more of an open forum today for Ms. Chanel. I do know she requested that, so I'm not too sure what that timing is going to be, but I'll make sure that it stays within the realm of what time frame we have set. I will be using books, my handy dandy books, once again. I do not have I don't have a green one, but it will be blue. And I will be getting that as soon as I pass this torch back. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Kaylani. And then I'm just going to wrap it back up with Joey Myers as the Zoom Master of the day.
Thanks, Miss Heather. Zoom Master, I'll be recording this meeting, or make sure it gets recorded and sent to the cloud, and getting the video to focus on whoever is speaking at the time, maybe with the exception of table topics. Although last week, I think I was able to focus everybody even on table topics, and then we'll probably just do this 6 window thing for the evaluation. Our team of evaluators are going to help Ms. Chanel with her speech. So that's what I'll be doing as Zoom Master.
Perfect.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Joey. And then now that was all the different roles for today, I'm going to pass it back to our Toastmaster of the day, who will introduce our only speaker. Back to you, Ms. Kaylani.
Thank you. Now, I can't be the only one who is as stoked to hear this, but our Madam President will be giving her speech today. Now, Chanel will be presenting a rough draft of the speech she'll be giving at the Area G3 speech contest coming up in March. She appreciates all of us taking time to listen to her speech today and provide feedback. None other than Ms. Chanel West.
Thank you, Kalani. And before I jump into it, I'm going to give a quick preface. So this is a first draft of my speech. I will be somewhat reading it because I don't have it memorized yet. And I'm open to feedback in all areas, but specifically at the point that I'm at with it, I would appreciate any feedback on content of speech as far as engagingness ability to follow the content flow of the speech. I thought that I had learned my lesson. I have applied for dozens of jobs before in my life, too many to count, and most of them I have not been chosen for. So when I walked into the job interview, I thought that my heart was sufficiently calloused towards whatever the answer may be. I had bought a new shirt just for the occasion, got there early, copies of my resume and work samples printed and placed in a neat manila folder, my best professional smile plastered on my face. I thought that it went pretty well until I received the phone call with those fateful words. We decided that we're going to go with someone with more experience. Reject, verb, meaning to discard as useless or unsatisfactory. When I heard the news that I was rejected for this job position, that's what I felt. At worst, I am useless. At best, I am unsatisfactory. Recently, I was up until 2 in the morning with my 19-year-old sister. Her boyfriend of 1.5 years decided to call her that afternoon and break up with her over the phone. Not much of a reason, just a jumbled explanation of half-truths. In her youth, and some might say her naivety, she thought that he was her soulmate. Apparently, he was thinking differently. And what she is feeling right now is that at worst, she is useless. At best, she is unsatisfactory. I never knew my mom's parents when they were together. They divorced when she was in middle school. My grandparents got married when my grandma was 17 and she dropped out of high school to marry him and moved to a different city. Then after 18 years of marriage, he walked out on her for a younger, prettier woman. What a message to send to somebody. And for a long time, my grandma felt that sting of rejection. That at best, she's unsatisfactory, and at worst, she is useless. But the funny thing about words is that they often have more than one definition. Reject, verb. To refuse to recognize. Personally, I would take some liberties and add on to this sentence. To refuse to recognize somebody's potential. To refuse to recognize somebody's value. To fail to see the strength that is there. Now, truthfully, if I hadn't been turned down for so many job positions, I probably wouldn't have ever pursued being self-employed. Now, when I go to work in the morning, I don't plaster a smile on my face. It's genuine because I love what I do. Out of ashes came something beautiful. My sister told me that losing her boyfriend so abruptly has forced her to do some deep self-evaluation. She is considering the areas in which she as a person needs to grow. She wants to go to therapy. She realizes that this is an opportunity to emerge from heartbreak stronger than ever before. And when my mom was in high school, my grandma ended up remarrying a 50-year-old lifelong bachelor. He's technically my mom's stepdad, but I have just always known him as my papa. And he was the man who gave my sisters and I piggyback rides to bed every night when we were staying at their house. He was the man who built us a life-size playhouse with his own hands. He was the man who loved my grandma in a way that she deserved to be loved. The rejection that she felt was devastating, but out of it came something incredibly beautiful. I propose a third definition of reject. Reject, verb. to provide an opportunity for something even better and more beautiful to grow. Madam Toastmaster.
I think we can all say that that was an amazing speech. I was so into it that I forgot that I was actually the timer. You were still in the range. I'll give you your time at the end. Don't worry. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to our table topics master, Miss Denny Mason.
Okay. Wait, let me. Okay, that was good. Happy day after Valentine's Day, everybody. Let's do some fun table topics here. I'm going to get you to reach back into your past. And I want you to think of and tell us about a Valentine you sent and you got a response that you hoped for. Or a Valentine that you sent and you got one that surprised you. Or if you want to go on a negative side, because I want to leave it open for that. A Valentine you wanted to get, but didn't. So a Valentine you sent and got a response you hoped for, one that surprised you, or one you didn't get.
I can start, Danny.
Go, Joey.
I might say this story is going to muddy my waters a little bit, I think. But this is when I was young and dumb in the 7th grade. There was a girl that I didn't really have an attraction to, but she did to me. And she was very, very forceful in that attraction, trying to do all kinds of things, going out of her way, being almost not obsessive, but obsessive. To me, I wasn't used to that. I was used to going after the girl and not used to going from elementary school, dumping into a bigger school and middle school and having the girls be a little bit more forceful in trying to date, that kind of stuff. And I can't remember how long it went on, but it was a couple months. I put up with it. I'm a pretty sympathetic person. I'm a pretty empathic person. And I don't necessarily, most of you know, I don't try and hurt people. But in this scenario, I don't know what it was that ticked me off, but maybe it was the balloons that embarrassed me that were ordered and sent to the class and she was in the class. These balloons were sent, and the teacher probably shouldn't have done this, but the teacher said the balloons came for Joey Myers from the girl's name. And the teacher goes, "Do you want me to read the note out in front of the class?"
No!
He gave me the option, and I wasn't in a good frame of mind. I was kind of in a ticked off, mean frame of mind. And I said yes. And that was the worst. I never did that before. That was the first and last time I ever did something like that. And I felt really bad after that. At the time, I didn't. At the time, I was like, well, now I think she's going to stop. And she did. But it wasn't a good way of going about it. So that was Valentine's Day, balloons being sent to me in class. And again, the teacher probably shouldn't have done that, but I shouldn't have done it either. So there's my bad boy Valentine story.
Oh, it's good to be loved. Okay, who wants to go next? A Valentine you hoped for, one that surprised you, or one you didn't get?
I can go next, Jenny.
Okay, Kalani.
Your questions really struck me because I can honestly say that I've never sent out a Valentine's, which is slightly sad in my case. But I will speak about a time where Valentine's Day recently had surprised me because it surpassed everything that I had thought Valentine's Day was supposed to be about, which is why I despise the day of my entire being. Last year, we unfortunately had COVID. And my boyfriend had it pretty strong for about 3 days. And I luckily was asymptomatic. So I was caring for him the entire 3 days. And the Valentine's Day was about the 7-day mark. Therefore, I was not really expecting anything. And we had flowers delivered that came unexpectedly. We had finally had a time to make homemade pasta, learn how to do that. We had lobster tails and steak delivered. We created a new dish that we never had a chance to do before. We had all the windows open and old school Italian music playing. And it was by far the least expensive Valentine's Day I'd ever had and the most special. Mind you, the first Valentine's date that we had was on a beach in Hawaii. And us having COVID together, making pasta, oddly shaped pasta, mind you. Best experience of my life. So that's the time that Valentine's Day has surprised me.
Very
That's
cool.
great. You know, shared trauma makes the best bonding experience. Absolutely.
I'll go
How
ahead,
about
Demi. I'll go. It took me a while to think of an answer because, to be honest, I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day myself either. I've just always, the pessimist in me has always just thought of it as another day for like marketing for chocolate and all that type of stuff. And then also, the really petty side in me is that my mother-in-law makes a huge deal out of Valentine's Day because my husband's born 2 days before Valentine's Day. Like, not that big of a deal. Again, just a little pettiness in me, but I understand and I support and I love, and I'll give you chocolates and tell you all the things, affirmation. But for me personally, if I have to like pick a Valentine's Day that's my favorite, I would have to say my very first one with my husband. We were just dating at the time, and it wasn't really anything that uber special, but to me it was, because it was our first together. And I remember going to the Edwards Theater and seeing the movie Beautiful Creatures with him. And I just remember just having a wonderful time. It was truly that movie and dinner type of date, you know, and that was really special to me. But other than that, we don't really do Valentine's Day. We say, hey, love you. Okay, cool. And that's about it. So that's my Valentine's Day story. So thank you, Debbie.
Those are the best. Quiet Valentines are the best. Ray, would you like to join us today? Can you think of a Valentine?
I'm following suit as everyone else. Valentine's Day is typically a day that I see as for marketing, and I just use it as a reminder to check myself. Have I shown my wife the love that she deserves throughout the year, you know, and throughout the times that we've spent? My wife and I have been together since high school. We're about 15 years now, and every day we go through our ups and downs, but at the end of the day, it's all about love and how we pursue this life together. Yesterday's Valentine's Day was a little bit surprising for me, so I guess I can say that, because it was just a normal day. I had work. There has been some craziness at work where my boss was out and I was in charge of a whole department, and we had a whole collapse. Anyways, and I went home, which is literally outside this door and next door, building over, which is the house is separated, and my wife has been in some pain, and I just started cooking dinner, and I came out with 2 different types of concoctions because I wasn't prepared. And we just sat there, watched Lady and the Tramp with my two wonderful children, you know, eating their popcorn and their little concoction that I made for them as well. And we just sat there as a family, and it was just love. And that's all we looked at I looked at my wife, and my wife looked at me and she said, "Happy Valentine's Day." And that's my story.
That's great.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Ray.
And hi,
Denny,
Monica.
well, Denny, did you want to, because Monica just jumped in, did you want to tell Monica what the table topics?
Hi, sorry I'm late. Had another meeting.
Hi, Monica. Hey, we're gonna do Valentine's that you sent and got a response you hoped for, or a Valentine that surprised you, or one that disappointed you.
Has everybody went already? Or
Not everybody. Do you want to go?
I'm gonna wait so I can think of it.
Okay, I haven't gone yet. The first big news is that my youngest daughter got engaged yesterday.
Ooh.
Yay.
Cool, pretty cool. She was here visiting for Super Bowl, and of course she says to me, "Mom, do you have any pictures? Where do you keep the old pictures?" So I said, "That drawer right over there." So she got out the drawer and her camera so she could take pictures of the pictures. And as we're going through pictures, of course, when I go through old pictures, I find all the Valentines that my little kids gave to me when they were little and still love me like a mama. And so I cherish those still, even though they seem dumb when you're doing them in school and you think they might be a waste of time. But as a grandma, I look back and I see those Valentines and I remember fun times. So that's my sweet Valentines that I love to look at. They're dumb pieces of paper that I keep in the drawer. They keep filling up, you know, but it doesn't matter. They bring back good memories. Ready? Ready, Monica?
Sure. Okay. So it was your Valentine Day yesterday or anything? Talk about yesterday?
Valentine's Day.
Okay. So when I think about Valentine's Day, I think about my mother. Since I was a little girl, my mother would always make sure that she would bake us something. I grew up very poor, and I would see all the kids in school get these balloons sent to them, you know, candy grams, balloons. And I was very appreciative of my mom, what she would do, because she couldn't afford to send balloons. She couldn't afford, you know, to send, you know, these big virtual or cards now. But she always made sure that she baked and we gave each other kisses and hugs and we acknowledged each other. And she always used to tell me, like, I'm her first Valentine. And she would tell my brothers and sisters the same thing. So now that I think about it now, I have this tradition that I share because now I am older, financially a lot stable, where it's, you know, I can afford stuff like that. So in the school district that my family goes to and my friends go, my friends' kids go to, I would always make sure that I would send them balloons to their school because I didn't want a child to feel the way I felt, you know, admiring all this extra stuff that I couldn't get. So yesterday was a holiday for the school district that I normally have. So the last one actually is my daughter this year. She's a senior this year. So we celebrated it at home yesterday. It was really nice to see everybody that I got to see when they were little all the way to the age of 18. They still send me a text message thanking me because every year I remember to give them balloons and hearts. I hope everybody had a great Valentine's Day, and I hope everybody has memories so they can share that special tradition of loving somebody and showing somebody how much they appreciate them.
Thank you, Monica.
Amen.
I think that's a great way to wind up here. So I'm going to pass this back over to our Actually, I think we're going to go straight to our evaluator. Is that right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So Joey, would you like to take over for evaluating?
Sure.
Great.
Am I the general evaluator?
I think are you evaluating Chanel's speech?
Oh, I think we were going to do like a platoon, but I can start. We're going to platoon people. Everybody have a little bit of evaluation for Chanel.
Yeah, I was thinking, Joey, if you want to go ahead and just facilitate that.
Yeah. I'll start off with it. Now, the difference with a speech contest, this is taking your speech up a notch or two. And I know some of us here haven't gone through the speech contest yet. And what you can do if you're going to give a speech, or if you're thinking about giving a speech. So in the next, obviously the next contest that we do, you can look up on YouTube, look up whatever speech you're thinking about giving. If it's international speech, put in a YouTube international Toastmasters international speech 2021 champion, or 2020 champion, or 2019 champion. And you can watch some of these speeches that are really, really good. And one of the things, and a lot of times they'll have the speech, and then there might be a follow-up where they interviewed them on another day or the same day. And there was one that was like a 30-minute follow-up interview where they interviewed the gentleman who had won. I think it was the international speech too, and asked him questions about how did he formulate the speech? What were some of the elements that he was trying to put in, and things like that. So one of the things that I learned, I think this was last year or the year before, I was watching one of those. And for me, even though I've been here for so long, I'm always learning. I'm always willing to learn some new things. And I think my biggest advice for you, Chanel, and I know this was, like you said, you were reading it more today because you didn't have it memorized or anything like that. And it was very good, very heartfelt, very connected. Audience has at some point in time gone through some sort of rejection in some shape or form, whether that's relationship or job or whatever, making a team or not making a team. And the one thing in past speeches, champions that have done is they've been able to pull the audience in different directions emotionally. So my advice, you came in pretty good about talking about, if you're like me, I've gone to many job interviews. I've gone to more job interviews than jobs I've actually landed. And my rejection rate, just like anybody else, is higher versus actually getting hired. And what you did well was use the story. When you led, you kind of introed, and then you used a story. My advice is to use this story in a way, paint a picture, and you want to be unpredictable with these emotional, where you're bring them around. So you want to paint that nice rosy picture and talk about that job interview, the story that you did, talk about how rosy everything was. And I couldn't wait to land this job. And I went in with all my hopes high, and everything was perfect. It was sunny. The birds were singing, the music, the Sinatra music was playing. Just paint this nice rosy picture, like perfect thing. And then say, I delivered this awesome job interview. Every question was asked. I was poignant with my answers. I did such a great job. And then the next day I figured I got it. They responded back. They called me, they emailed me, whatever. And I figured I got it. And it was those 3 words or whatever you said, 4 words. You didn't get the job, or we went someplace else, right? That is an unpredictable response, or people aren't expecting that. They're thinking you got it, right? So that's just an idea that you can use that same thing throughout the speech, but definitely start, I would say, with that. That would be my advice.
Yeah, I like that, Joey. That's good. I'm thinking maybe I should make the title a little bit more coy so as not to give it away.
Give it away. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's my advice. Anybody else? It doesn't have to be that deep. If you got advice that's, hey, your eyes you weren't connecting or whatever. I mean, it could be just like that. It doesn't have to be, that's a deeper idea. Go ahead, Heather.
I'll say one thing, and I'm just going to steal this from Denny because I know that she's said this to me before and it was really helpful. Chanel, just go for it. I know you're doing this for practicing for the speech competition, but you don't have to justify anything. We know that you're doing this because you're the only one brave enough to do it right now. So there's no need to, let us know that you don't have it all together. Other than that, I think you did really well, and I'm really looking forward to you in the competition. You're gonna go great with the speech.
I'd like to
Good advice.
jump in as well, real quick.
Go for it.
Please.
One of the things that I learned in public speaking is, as a woman, our tone fluctuates a lot easier when speaking to a loud group. And in that speech, even though you didn't have it down, you'd look down at your notes, your voice still stayed consistent, more consistent than you've given in previous speeches when you weren't looking down at all. So I think that's real big kudos to be able to maintain the same tone level.
And Kalani, you talking about that inflection that goes up?
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, good advice. Yeah, it's when you ask a question, you talk about something like this, and that inflection that goes up.
Exactly.
So
I think
much
that's-
better with the consistency.
I would like to chime in as well.
Go ahead, Ray.
I have the luxury of not being able to see that she was looking down. So I'll just react to that same comment, is that I did not hear a tone difference in the speech. What I did hear is the pause. And there were some parts on it was a right amount of pause time, and then some was just a little longer. So I was wondering what was happening. But that's the only thing I heard throughout the speech. But the message itself was clear. It lined up to this very dramatic and, felt well done. So I appreciate that.
Great advice, Ray. Yeah, and a great way to fill those pauses with a speech like this, where you're getting ready for a contest. If you're going to have a longer pause, like where Ray's talking about, he's wondering what's going on, like it's a little longer pause than normal. If you lead that pause with a question, so what people do, then they'll self-reflect and they don't notice that pause. But that's not off the cuff that you can do that. I mean, you can, I guess, but with a prepared speech, you can.
The pauses were intentional.
Yeah.
Because obviously, as I said, I was reading it, so it's not like I forgot where I was. I mean,
Yeah.
I was reading it right in front of me.
And pauses are good, Chanel. Pauses are good, but there, like Ray said, there's a good pause and a bad pause, or not bad pause, but a longer pause where somebody could go, okay, did she figure out what she said? But if you use that longer pause, starting it with a question, people don't even know because they're thinking what the answer is for themselves. So they almost like makes their mind busy with something else. It's like a distraction, basically, while you let that sit and then you move on with your next thought.
Okay, and I love hearing everybody's comment because the perspectives are so different. Being in person here with her, the pauses to me were like, I was like, is she gonna cry? I was almost like
True.
a little bit like that. So my only thing that I would say to you got me emotional in the speech. Absolutely, you have me. The very beginning of it, I would like to see a stronger statement of what I'm about to hear. Because I didn't know if you were going to take me on a downer and bring me back, or if you were going to take me on a victim speech, or I didn't quite know if it was going to be an empowering speech, or if it was going to be a for me speech.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Point. Yep. So, and the trick is with these kind of, and this isn't it. You're doing the inspirational, right, Chanel?
Yes.
And the trick with doing that, and I agree with Denny, the trick with doing that is not doing it, but not doing that. So giving people enough, maybe it's the title. Maybe it's the title that gives it away, but you said being a little coy with it. But like I said, when you watch, and I want to say it was the 2021 or the 2020 champion, it was something in the title was something blue. Check that one out. And that was a really good one. He did a really good job of pulling the audience in different directions emotionally, and it was unpredictable. And that's what gets people, that's what pulls them into your story, is that unpredictableness of where you're going. And it has to be emotional. Like Denny said, she felt like you're gonna, those pauses, she felt like maybe you're gonna cry. And that's part of it. That's part of that emotional tug that Denny was feeling while you were doing it.
But the feeling of rejection is something I think everybody can relate to. And you did a
Right.
really good job of bringing examples in that everybody has experienced before.
Yeah, covering the main ones, right? The relationship, getting a job, not getting a job. I mean, those are the big ones.
Yeah, and I could change the narratives as well. Are there any other, I guess, like major life rejections or disappointments that you guys could think of that might speak to people?
Well, what's your main theme is that almost the phoenix rises from the ashes. That's your main theme, right? It's rejection. You're talking about rejection, but it's an inspirational story. So you're talking about how that rejection is horrible. It feels horrible, but every character in your story rises from the ashes. Right?
Yeah.
So maybe the objective is to see rejection differently.
As burning down and then recovering and rising from the ashes stronger.
Yes, that is the objective. I'm wondering if I might think on the examples a bit and see if I can come up with something that maybe is a bit stronger, like a very maybe specifically the middle one about my sister. Maybe I could come up with something that's a bit like stronger as far as like totally overcoming.
Again, maybe just knowing that you want me to see rejection in a more positive way. If I had known that right in the very beginning, I think I would have been looking at the story differently.
Yeah, maybe if you want to pick that, you don't have to do the phoenix rising from the ashes, but maybe if you want to, you can start off with just a brief synopsis of maybe the mythology of, again, very brief, just a couple sentences of a phoenix rising from ashes. Think about the movies you watch. And sometimes they start where you see, if it's an action movie or it's a war movie, this gore and gross, and the hero looks like they're dying, and then it goes black. And then it's like birds chirping, it's sunny, and you're like, what the heck just happened right now? Right? Something like that. So maybe that visualization of, again, doesn't have to be the phoenix rising from the ash. It could be whatever metaphor you want to use that's similar to that. But maybe you open it up with that. Very brief. You don't have to go into the history and all that kind of stuff, but just a cool visualization, just like a movie would open up with the scene of something like that as a metaphor. That might be enough to get people thinking, getting them curious. And then you just like go into this whole thing about getting this job and and they're going to go, what's that connection? And then bam, it's going to hit them when you tell them what happened during that. And then how you came out of that stronger.
Okay. And I know it's on the short side right now, the 5 to 7 minutes. It might have been a little under 5, so I have room to add some stuff.
I'm so excited to watch it when it becomes available because I came late.
Yeah,
so
Monica
I'm
missed
excited.
it.
I'm hearing all this stuff and I'm like,
Monica
yay.
missed it, yeah.
I'm gonna watch it and I'll email you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll give it one more time, yeah, Chanel? Will you give it one more time after you work it?
The next time we meet, because we're not meeting next week, so in 2 weeks when we come back, I'm going to give it again.
Okay, cool.
Before the area contest.
Yeah.
And do you guys agree that Chanel's personality has room for exaggeration in there?
Yeah.
Christine,
Okay. Did you hear my speech last year? I think I did. That one was a bit more animated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think in this one I was trying to find balance because I'm going for kind of a like serious tone.
Yeah.
And you're happy.
You still have your
Yeah,
breath.
I think that kind of what Joey's talking about, the like pulling emotions in different directions. It
Like the
really
happy
is that.
times, the happy
So
parts, you
very-
can be really embellishing and all that kind of stuff. You can be really dramatic. And then when you get into the serious part, everything gets sucked in, and you can use that as your body language.
Yeah. Great.
Good.
Good. Thank you, everybody. I greatly appreciate all of your feedback.
I gotta go open the gate for my long guy. I'll be right back. Okay. So I'll hand it back. Who am I handing it back to? Back to
We'll be
our,
right back.
back to Kalani. Great work, everybody. Thanks for all I'll be right back.
Or no, back to, let's go to Heather, general evaluator.
Okay. Lovely speech, Chanel. I really am excited when you workshop it a little bit more and really present it. I think it's going to be wonderful. Overall, I feel like the movement of the meeting went really well. We're on time. Everyone was able to present and speak a little bit for the table topics. We meandered a little bit here and there, but we're back on track. So I think I'm going to pass it to Miss Kaylani for the timer, and we'll go from there.
Thanks, Heather. I do have my times a bit out of order here, so just bear with me. I apologize. I jumped into the spot and didn't have scratch paper. Chanel, I know you mentioned that your speech was going to come in a little bit under, but I had clocked you at 5:01 on the dot.
Okay.
Joey, I had him at 1:58. I had myself at 1:52. Heather had you at 1:23. Ray, I had you at 1:07. Denny, I had you at 1:30. Monica, 1:43. And then Joey's eval, or excuse me, yeah, Joey's eval at 3 o'clock even. That is, I believe, the first one that I've counted timed where everyone was in the time frame allotted. Great job, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you, Kaylani. And I'm bringing up my agenda. I apologize. Let's see from here. Now I'm going to go to our all counter, which forget who was our all counter for the day.
Denny.
But Denny, please let us know how we did.
Okay, I will. Chanel, your word today was up. Kalani, you did great. Joey had so in there. Heather, I was just gonna say, you got through the whole day without apologizing once, except for a minute ago.
So close.
You did that was it.
Thank you, Denny. I always have to slip one in or off in there. It just wouldn't be me without it. Okay, so from here, I'm going to go back to our grammarian. I believe is the last one, and you didn't hear it, but I did sneak meander in there.
Oh, did you get it in?
I
Bam, that one I
did.
left. All right, so Heather got it. And then Kalani got it before I even officially announced it. She looked in the chat and saw it there. So she used it right before I even announced it. Did I miss anybody using meander, or was that it? Great work. Great work.
Perfect. Thank you, Joey. And now I'm just going to pass it back to Madam President.
Thank you, Heather. Virtual sticker to Joey, Kalani, and Heather, all of you for jumping on stuff, and in person for Denny for jumping onto our calendar the last minute. I've already said this a couple times, but we're not going to be meeting next week, so we will fill out the agenda for 2 weeks from now on March 1st. I'm going to be giving my speech again, and we also have Emerson down to speak. So we need 2 evaluators, a Toastmaster, a general evaluator, and Monica, I have you down for table topics master that day, because you had mentioned the last time you would like to do that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If I get training that day, because they put me in a thing for training. If I get training, I won't be able to make it. But yeah, but if not for the 8th.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Just if you can give us a heads up when you find out if you're gonna be able to make it or not. You, okay, Denny, you can evaluate.
You can throw me in there too, evaluator.
Okay, thank you, Joey. And can we get a Toastmaster and general evaluator?
I'll be Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you, Heather.
I'm sorry, but I have to go. Have a good meeting.
All right, Heather.
See you
Have a
later.
good week.
Thanks.
No, you can put me for the general evaluator. More than likely, I'll be attending this meeting, but if I can't, you will hear from me first thing.
We'll pick you up.
Okay, that sounds good. And then, Kalani, I have you down for March 15th for giving a speech. So that will show up on the back of the agenda this week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Scheduling speeches. You guys want to do it? Monica, are you ready to give your second speech at some point?
Yeah, so I'm looking at my schedule. The only thing that's really hard is during these next couple of months, I'm going to be doing mediation school, and there's so much training I have. But I can go ahead and set my next one. It's just the next one. I'll try to set for the 15th or the 22nd of March
Okay.
for my
Okay.
speech.
I'll put you down for the 15th, and then we can change it. You can move it
Okay.
back.
Yeah, I think that one will work out.
And Ray, where are you at? Are you feeling maybe ready to jump in and give icebreaker speech? You're wanting to join?
I don't know if Ray's official yet.
Yeah, not official yet, but I'm just maybe a little bit more time. Just filling it out. I'm buying into this whole thing, but I just getting to seeing what everything goes and how everything works out. So
He's still window shopping.
not window shopping. I'm more inside the store, and I'm just
He's meandering.
I'm meandering. There you go.
Okay, all right, totally fine. Totally fine. Okay. All right, any questions, comments, criticism?
All good.
Good. Okay. Thank you, everybody, again, very much for feedback today and taking extra time to do that. I really appreciate it.
Got it. All right, everyone. Have a good rest of the week.